Hello everybody, and thanks for checking out this playback, which will focus on the new error handling framework for the Hyperledger Fabric project. I recorded a playback on this topic a little while back, but we've gone through a couple of redesigns and have streamlined the framework to make it easier to use. So this one should be considered the definitive playback. So just for a general overview, this framework will add in error codes and the ability to generate a call stack which can be displayed with the error message just by using these error objects in place of calls to format.errorf or errors.new. So that's just a bunch of words about it, but here I'll go ahead and show you an example in context because it's all very simple and it will, I think just showing it will be the best way. Alright, so what I'll start with is I'll go into the code, and so here in this get admin client function, the code was just it tries to connect out to a running peer, and if it can't connect for whatever reason, we were just returning this standard using format.errorf error message. And so that's all well and good, but if we want to go ahead and start utilizing this error handling framework, what we'll do is we will call errors.error, and then what we'll do here is define a component name, which this code is running within the context of the peer, so I've decided to choose peer as the component here. And so this one is a connection error, so we're just going to give it that kind of name. And then everything else afterwards will define the message and then any parameters that are passed in. And these can be set just like with any format.printf or errorf function. And it can take any arbitrary number of parameters. So now at this point, what we have, if we save this, oh, and if you were wondering, since I've already used this error handling framework in this package, I had already imported the package, but the package here is the github.com Hyperledger Fabric core/errors package. So now that we have our new error defined, and so for this one, I'll throw in the fact that I just created a basic error, and if we want to, and I can show this in a future run, if we wanted to, there's also the error with call stack, which will generate a call stack when it creates the error message. But I'll get into that on the next run, since there are a couple of extra details as far as when that message is appended. Alright, so now we have our new error message, and I'm just going to do a quick make peer. And once this is done, I'll be able to do a call to any just standard peer call. And so this would go out and it's going to try to connect, and it fails, which is not surprising. I don't have my peers started up. And so what you can see here is before using this error handling framework, we would just have the message starting here with error trying to connect to local peer. Whereas now what we've done is we've prepended an error code and then added the message on the end. And so this error code within your code, if you would ever like to just check what the error is, you can just call error.getErrorCode, and that will display the error code just on its own. However, we've decided to prepend it to all error messages upon display, so that's what you see there. All right, and then just for one quick example, as I alluded to before, if we wanted to display the call stack, so this would typically be for errors that are more critical in nature, or things where you think it might be useful in your own debugging or for someone else's debugging, to have the call stack to exactly trace where the error is coming from. We can go ahead and just change this over to errors.error with call stack, and then it takes all of the same parameters and the framework will generate the call stack for you. So now at this point, if I built and tried that call again, it would just display the exact same error message that it did before. The key for using the error with call stack, at least in our current design, is a setting in peer core.yaml. And so under the logging section, we have a variable here for error. And so it defaults to warning, which is what I have here. And when it's set to warning, or all of the other levels other than debug, it will just display the error code followed by the error message. However, if you would like to see the call stack appended, you switch the error variable here to debug. So now that we have that set, and we have our error with call stack, I will go in, quickly make the peer again, and now that that's done, I'll just do the exact same call, which I expect to fail because my peer is not started up. And now what we can see, I'll expand this out since the call stack is a little long there. We see our previously displayed error message along with error code, and then at the bottom we get the call stack. And that's really about all there is to it. There is a wiki on this framework which kind of goes through a number of the things I've mentioned and provides a couple of other pointers. So I will include the link to that in the description for this video. And I think we'll end it there. Thanks, everybody.